When I left, I received lots and lots of farewell messages, like you would expect after 9 years and being a founder of the company and being the CEO at the end of the day. And that's actually not worth talking about if those farewell messages went just like, well, it's been great, I'm going to see you, and look forward to understand what you're going to be doing next, and all of these things. That was one element of the messages. But the messages that I received went so much deeper in terms of the uniqueness of the experience all these people felt in the company that we had created. So I had a choice. I could leave all these messages on my iPhone and in a sentimental moment look at them and think, well, it's been great, but it's the past, or share them with the world. This is kind of the inspiration that got me to building Corporate Soul. When I wrote the book in 2020, at the end of the writing experience, I did lots of research. It's not a book about the agency, and you will see when you get a copy later on. It's a book about how to build a company with soul, how to build a company with a thriving culture. And these are headlines from earlier this year, so we all know this. And in German, I think there's a big movement right now about Arbeitnehmerlosigkeit. So people, unemployment, not unemployment, actually. The topic is really critical in terms of ensuring to attract the best talent and to retain the best talent to deliver the best performance for clients, because there's no growth without people at the end of the day. And one of the questions that I'm getting asked a lot is, so what's the difference between soul and culture? And my response is, every company has got a culture. You can't have a company without a culture. Whether that's a great culture or a not so great culture or anything in the middle depends on the leadership team of all these companies. I once received an email from a CEO who heard about the book and said, well, congratulations, great book. And I want to tell you, I've got a company with soul. And I emailed him back and said to him, listen, it's great that you recognize that corporate culture is a key driver for growth and for success. But actually, I don't think it's the leaders who can judge whether the company has got soul or not. It's actually the employees who can tell you whether you've got soul as a company or not. I've spent my life in marketing, and on the agency side, you probably know the Priceless campaign from MasterCard that has been around for 25 years. I'm very proud to be part of that. And I was a co-founder of a company called Spark 44. You might not know the company, but you know the joint venture partner, which was Jaguar and Land Rover, and you probably remember some of the work, like the Super Bowl work for Jaguar way back then. But I'm not talking about advertising today, I'm talking about corporate culture, and I'm talking about a growth mindset. And in a second you will see what growth meant for us, and that's something probably that mirrors kind of what you have been going through in various companies of yourself. So this is going to be my time scale with Spark 44. I was a co-founder of the company. We started in 2011, and when I left as CEO of the company, that was the end of 2019. And what happened in the meantime was we started with 4 offices, and when I left, we were 19 offices. We started with 80 people. When I left, this was 1,200 people. 19 offices globally in 18 countries, actually. And as you see, in 2015, an already pretty aggressive growth strategy in terms of scaling the company went from 250 to 750 people in just 6 months, basically, and from 6 offices to 16 offices. So when you look at that, everybody here can probably imagine the growing pains of building a company and growing at scale that fast. But I'm not going to talk about the growth itself. I'm talking about how the growth and the company itself resonated with its people. And here are some statements from the employee surveys, and you can read them yourselves. Like 96% were saying, I'm feeling like I'm on a journey, I'm doing my best work, 92, and 93 feel like I matter. And on the right side of the slide, what you're seeing is the annual staff turnover. And I think that's probably something that all of you are dealing with. There's not enough people to actually fill all the positions that are out there. And some of your best people are actually leaving their jobs to move somewhere else. And we actually basically created a situation where our staff turnover was half the industry average. So as I said, corporate soul is about the integrity of words and actions. For me, it's got 3 levels. The shared purpose is at the heart of it. It's the foundation. The shared understanding and the shared behaviors are the next 2 levels, and I'll explain those in a second. What's common to all 3 is the word shared. Because obviously you've heard about purpose, because it's been the buzzword for the last 10, 15 years. And I've always struggled with purpose. And the reason why I struggled was that it always felt like purpose was the end game. But purpose is only the start. Purpose is a means to an end, it's not the end. So shared comes into play because we're talking about that purpose. If a company goes to that stage and defines its purpose, its reason for being, then the whole leadership team must buy into this. Otherwise, it's got no chance to become alive in any shape or form. But the shared element of buying in from the executive team is only one component. We will see that in a second. The shared with everybody inside the firm and outside the firm, all stakeholders, is actually critical. Hence, shared purpose and shared understanding. And for shared understanding, you see 4 elements: vision, mission, values, the 3 usual suspects. And there's a 4th element, which is, in my definitions, what I call spirit. And spirit is nothing esoteric here. Spirit is the intended culture. Because very often value statements are not clear enough for people to understand how they're expected to behave inside a company. So if you have that unity of vision, mission, values, and spirit, you've got a fair chance that everybody inside the company can fully understand why they are supposed to be here. And then we get into the 3rd level, and as you've heard from my Jaguar Land Rover introduction, there's a bit of automotive experience, and in that industry they've got this saying, when the rubber hits the road. And here's their soul system. And it's very clear. If you've never worked at LinkedIn and imagine tomorrow is your first day at LinkedIn and you read this, you have a pretty clear idea what's expected from you and what you can expect. So the purpose, crystal clear, to facilitate professional networking. So this is not about airy, fairy, nice, great words and all of that. It's about what are we about? Why are we here? We're here to facilitate professional networking. The vision builds on that, to create economic opportunity for every member of the global workforce. And in the early days, economic opportunity was we connect on LinkedIn and then kind of you have an idea and you think I can help you, or I connect you with him, and things happen. If you go to LinkedIn right now, it's actually becoming the biggest job machine in the world. So forget Stepstone, forget Indeed. LinkedIn is taking that position. Mission, to connect the world's professionals, to make them more productive and successful, and the values are perfect. I love those values. Because the first 2 values are about the external relationships. It's members first, it's relationships matter. That's what LinkedIn is built upon. Then there are internal attitudes. Be honest, be open, be honest and constructive. And then there's about a quality level, what we expect from everybody here at LinkedIn. Demand excellence, take intelligent risks, and act like an owner. So if you have read all of these, and tomorrow is your first day at LinkedIn, you're pretty clear on what to expect. All those 4 elements have not been touched since 2005.